Hello, my name is Stephanie Hockett, and for this week's discussion, I'm going over chapters 10 and 11 from our textbook. I also want to apologize ahead of time for my voice. I've been sick all week. So for chapter 10, I found this statement by Nieto to be extremely powerful, and it really encompassed what the whole focus of the chapter was about. And I think it's what we should all try and strive for as educators. So it states, sometimes going beyond being nice means just the opposite of what one might define as nice. That is, it means having rigorous standards and high expectations, pushing students further than they might believe they can go, and supporting them as they try to accomplish their goals. So here are some of Nieto's thoughts on racism from this chapter. She defines racism as the systematic failure of people and institutions to care for students of color on an ongoing basis. She states that everyone can have biased perceptions, and that even sometimes people can harbor these biases against their own groups, and that overall, sometimes what we as teachers see as caring can actually be harming, because if we are failing to treat all students equally and hold them to the same standard, we're really failing them. She explained that in order to avoid this, that we as teachers need to get to know our students. We need to have high expectations and standards no matter the background of the student. So this goes for linguistically, financially, socially, educationally, racially, ethnically different students. We all have to have high standards for all of those students. We need to respect a student. And I think what she really meant by respecting is we're respecting who they are as a person. There was a short story where she kind of mentioned that as multicultural teachers, it's not our job to tell our student at home you need to speak English, your parents need to only speak English to you at home. That really being a multicultural teacher, that you are respecting who they are and their differences, while still getting them to learn another language. Just because they're learning English doesn't mean that they are embracing that as their only linguistic identity. We need to admire students for what they can do in the classroom, and we need to really understand our students as individuals. Because when we do this, we provide accommodations that are needed for every student, while still having them have work to the same rigor as others. And basically just avoid unnecessary accommodation. So just because a student is an English language learner doesn't mean that we should water down the work that they're producing, that we need to find ways to accommodate them to still participate in a way that makes them successful and that is difficult for them. Overall, we just need to welcome diverse culture and customs in our classroom and school, and we really need a dialogue over what caring truly looks like in the classroom for all students. So for chapter 11, I chose this quote. It says, "The three values that epitomize multicultural education: caring and love, courage, and creativity." So really this chapter just kind of went into stories that epitomized these kind of three pillars of what it means to be a multicultural educator. So what is a multicultural teacher? She defined a multicultural teacher as not a teacher who necessarily comes from a multicultural, linguistic, ethnic, or racial background. Instead, a multicultural teacher is one who values diversity. She is a learner of her students, reflects critically. So what she means by reflecting critically is that you're thinking of your own personal biases or what you're doing or your own mistakes, and you're correcting that by self-reflection and how it ties into the real world and what all of our students need. And learners of students, basically that just means that you provide lessons and accommodations based on students, and you learn from how your students react to your lessons and accommodate appropriately. A multicultural teacher also incorporates multicultural content and pedagogy consistently in the classroom. And overall, being a multicultural teacher takes effort. So, they're seeking out literature to incorporate in their classroom. They're reading literature to ensure that they continue being multicultural and aware of diversity. It's really following through with research and other steps to ensure that you're being the best teacher you can be to students who have diverse backgrounds. So the first kind of pillar of being a multicultural teacher is being caring and loving. My favorite story came from this section. It basically talked about a teacher who, in her first year, she was so worried about her students liking her. But it wasn't until now in her 20th year she really realizes that liking doesn't really matter. What really matters is how much you truly love and care for a child, because the rest kind of falls into place naturally. And I know from my own personal experiences, especially with the more difficult children, they ask for love in the most unloving ways, and when you're able to show them that you care, they can do amazing things. Being caring and loving is believing in your students. So that's believing in their dreams, continuing to have high expectations, respecting their identities, not trying to change them, but embracing it and growing with them, and really connecting with students. And then there was just another quote that talked about how sometimes teachers of color aren't as prominent in schools, but it's really important that students are able to interact with teachers of color, because they do teach more than just content. They help dispel myths of racial inferiority and incompetence, and they serve as surrogate parents, guides, and mentors to their students. Now, this isn't saying that non-teachers of color aren't good teachers. They are, but basically just saying that by being a teacher of color, it just gives that role model to students. And I think, in my own school, it doesn't necessarily have to be their homeroom teacher. It could just be a teacher in the school that kind of serves as a mentor for those students. The second kind of pillar of being a multicultural teacher is courage. So basically, this was just stories of being a voice for students overall. This can be done in the classroom, the courts and unions, and the legislative process. But I really think that the overall message was, however you feel comfortable, you need to be a voice for your students and advocate for what's best for them, and fight against labels. So one of the little stories stated that labels like limited English proficient and English language learners can be construed as negative and can even limit a child when that's all you think of that child as is that label. So just understanding that a student is more than a label. And just overall, it's what do you think is best for your students individually or as a whole, and what can you do to ensure that that best is met and done in your classroom. The last pillar of being a multicultural teacher is creativity. So having creativity in your classroom means that you're creating opportunities for students to be well-rounded members of society. It really touched upon state standards and testing, and me being a teacher from Texas in a public school system, the STAR test, the TEKS, it's so present in our school, and I feel like everything is kind of revolved around these standards. And I really loved that this section talked about you don't just teach the TEKS, you do teach so much more than that. So as a teacher, we need to make sure that what we're teaching is culturally and socially relevant, and that they're really meaningful and authentic experiences. Sometimes unplanned learning is the best kind of learning. So, for example, in the text, it talked about a discussion over who Christopher Columbus was, and kind of helped dispel some myths about Christopher Columbus and how, well, yes, he, sailed the seas, that things that he did weren't always just. And, I've actually had that conversation with my own students, and they were kind of amazed when we read an article that talked about the negatives of him. And, I think just having those discussions with your students and just making them aware of there are two sides to every story, explore yourself, things that you want to know. I always recommend that my students go deeper into things that we learn, and always do it kind of not like extra credit, but when they're really into a lesson, I'll give them resources to further investigate. And a lot of times I'll have students come back to me the next day and be like, oh my goodness, I looked up this and that, and I'll have them share with the class what they learned. And overall, being creative is really posing those important questions to your students. So I'm going to end my presentation with a quote from Carl Menninger. It says, "What a teacher is more important than what he teaches." So I think this is really important to me, again, as a teacher in Texas, that I need to remember that I'm more than just the TEKS, and I teach more than just that. That, being caring and loving, having courage, having creativity, being role model to my students, and really respecting their identity and their diversity is what's important. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.